Hello friends! Welcome to Adventures in Food with Howard. Today I'm going to make for you my walnut-cranberry muffins. This is an easy recipe that I can make almost any time because it uses ingredients that I always have on hand like flour, eggs, milk, sugar, dried cranberries, and walnuts. As the weather turns colder, there's nothing quite so satisfying as the smell of a home-baked treat fresh from your oven. Please give this a try. And if you enjoy this recipe, please subscribe, click on the like icon, and leave me a comment. I always enjoy hearing from my viewers. Also, if you stay to the end of this video, I will show you how to properly measure flour for a recipe when you don't have a kitchen scale. If you like to do baking, then you are sure to have the following ingredients handy. 2 cups all-purpose white flour, 3/4 cup granulated white sugar, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 2 teaspoons baking powder, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 3/4 cup walnut pieces that have been toasted, 3/4 cup dried cranberries or any dried fruit such as raisins or cherries. And finally, you want to remove 2 tablespoons of flour from the large mixing bowl and add it to the smaller bowl with the walnuts and cranberries. Stir these 2 tablespoons of flour into the walnuts and cranberries thoroughly. The reason for doing this, if the walnuts and cranberries are lightly coated with flour, that will help them stay suspended in the muffin batter instead of sinking to the bottom of the muffin. Do not add the walnuts and cranberries to the large bowl of flour just yet. Next, we want to add the other dry ingredients into the large bowl of flour. Using a whisk or a large wooden spoon, stir all the dry ingredients together. You'll also want to make sure that your walnuts and cranberries are coated with that extra 2 tablespoons of flour, but make sure not to add them to the big bowl of dry ingredients just yet. Now let's turn our attention to the wet ingredients. You will need 1/4 cup vegetable oil, 1/2 cup whole milk, 1/2 cup sour cream, 2 extra large eggs, and 1 teaspoon pure vanilla extract. In either another large mixing bowl or a large measuring cup, add your wet ingredients. The ingredients can be added in any order, but today I decided to add the oil, followed by the vanilla, then the lightly beaten egg, and finally I added the milk and the sour cream. Using a whisk, I blended these wet ingredients thoroughly. The next thing you'll want to do is to add your wet ingredients all at one time into the large bowl with the dry ingredients. Now it's very important that the mixing of the wet ingredients with the dry ingredients be done as quickly and gently as possible. I start out with a spatula to fold in the wet and dry ingredients together. Then I switch to a whisk just until all the flour has been absorbed. Finally, I switch back to the spatula to fold in the walnuts and the cranberries. The key to a light and tender muffin is to not overmix the batter and develop the gluten in the flour, so stop mixing as soon as everything is mixed in. Now, do you really need to stir the batter using a spatula and mixing it with a whisk? Of course not. If all you have is a wooden spoon, then by all means use that to do all your mixing. Using a spatula and a whisk just makes the job a little easier, and since I have them, why not use them? The next step is to either grease your muffin tin with butter or shortening, or do like I did and use paper liners that have been sprayed with a non-stick spray. Using a 1-ounce cookie scoop, I find that 2 ounces of batter or 2 scoops of batter per muffin tin gives me just the right amount of batter for 12 nicely sized muffins. Of course, if you don't have a cookie scoop, you can fill the muffin tin by using 2 spoons. Once you have filled all the muffin tins with batter, immediately place them into a preheated 400-degree Fahrenheit oven and bake them between 20 to 24 minutes. Rotate the muffin tin in the oven after 10 minutes of baking to ensure even browning on the tops of the muffins. Check the muffins at the 20-minute mark. If the muffins look done to you, then remove them from the oven and test them for doneness by inserting a toothpick into the center of one of the muffins. If the toothpick comes out clean, the muffins are done. If there is batter stuck to the toothpick, then return the pan to the oven. Since all ovens cook differently, the tricky part is deciding how much additional time you need. This will all depend on how much batter was stuck to the toothpick and how undercooked the muffin is. This is a situation where your experience with your oven will tell you how much additional time is needed. If you have no experience baking or no experience with your oven, then just take your best guess. Whether you underbake your muffin or overbake your muffins, they are still bound to be delicious. So don't be afraid. Remove the muffins from the muffin tins as soon as they are done and allow them to cool for about 15 to 20 minutes before you eat them. This carryover cooking and cooling time is really important for baked goods, so don't try and rush this. I hope you give these a try. If you enjoyed watching this video, please subscribe and hit the like button. Also leave me a comment. I always enjoy hearing from my viewers. Now, here is the bonus video that I was telling you about earlier. The best way to measure dry ingredients for baked goods is to weigh your ingredients using a kitchen scale. If you can afford one, it's the best way to measure your ingredients and will give you the best results. But let's be honest, not everyone can afford to buy a kitchen scale or has access to a kitchen scale. If that's you, then here's the proper way to measure flour when baking. Oftentimes your flour has been sitting in a bag or in a storage container on your shelf or pantry for quite a while. As it sits, the flour tends to compact. So the first thing you want to do is aerate the flour by stirring the flour with either a large spoon or a wire whisk. Once you've aerated the flour, gently scoop up the flour with a large spoon and pour it into a dry measuring cup. Do not try and use a wet Pyrex type measuring cup for this step. It will not give you accurate results. Keep scooping your flour into your measuring cup until it has been overfilled as shown. Then using a straight edge like the back of a knife, level off the excess flour and pour your measured flour into your mixing bowl. All powdery dry ingredients can and should be measured like this. Accurate measurements are the key to successful baking. I hope you give this a try. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you the next time here on Adventures in Food with Howard.